President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland has been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, fuck off.
Hey there, America. Welcome back to the channel where we break down the most insane political dramas unfolding right now. And trust me, what I'm about to show you today is absolutely explosive. Donald Trump just had a complete meltdown over the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's connected to Greenland, Denmark, and one of the most brutal viral videos you've ever seen mocking him. This story has everything: international humiliation, petty revenge, and Trump being trolled on a level we've never witnessed before. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into this absolute mess. All right, let's set the stage. You know, Trump has been obsessed with taking over Greenland, right? He's been talking about it for years, claiming it's essential for national security, that America needs it to protect against Russia and China. He's threatened military action, refused to rule out using force, and even started threatening Denmark and Europe with massive tariffs if they don't hand over Greenland. But here's where it gets wild. We now know the real reason behind Trump's Greenland obsession, and it's not about national security at all. It's about his bruised ego over not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. According to multiple reports, Trump sent a furious message to Norway's prime minister complaining that he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. And get this, he blamed Norway for the decision, even though Norway doesn't actually control the Nobel Committee. Trump literally wrote, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize, I no longer feel obligated to think purely of peace." Can you believe that? The President of the United States is essentially admitting he's threatening military action against Greenland because he's mad about not getting an award. This is like a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum because they didn't get a gold star in kindergarten. And of course, Trump's henchman Stephen Miller went on CNN to defend this insanity. Check out what happened when Jake Tapper pressed him on whether military force is off the table for Greenland.
Frankly, going back into the previous Trump administration, that Greenland should be part of the United States. The president has been very clear about that. That is the formal position of the U.S. government.
Right. Miller claimed that Greenland should obviously be part of the United States and that Denmark is a tiny military that cannot defend Greenland. But here's where it gets good. Jake Tapper absolutely destroyed him with actual facts. Danish military expert reminds Miller that the U.S. had over 30 military bases in Greenland during the Cold War, and they chose to close them down. So if America lacks military presence there now, it's because they left voluntarily. Miller had no response to that. He just kept dodging the question about whether military force is on the table. The whole interview was a train wreck. Miller couldn't even defend Trump's position when confronted with basic historical facts. It was embarrassing to watch. Now let's talk about the Nobel Prize situation, because this is where it gets hilarious. The 2025 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Maria Corina Machado, the Venezuelan opposition leader who's been fighting for democracy against Nicolas Maduro's dictatorship. She actually deserved it, but Trump was convinced he should have won it. He's been saying for years that nobody deserves the Nobel Peace Prize more than me. Seriously, he said that multiple times. And here's where it gets even more bizarre. Maria Corina Machado actually visited Trump at the White House and gave him her Nobel Prize medal as a gift. She said it was to thank him for his support of Venezuelan democracy. Trump was thrilled. He posted about it all over social media, basically treating it like he won the Nobel Prize. But the Nobel Foundation had to step in and clarify. The medal belongs to Maria Corina Machado. Donald Trump did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. That public correction from the Nobel Foundation must have stung Trump's ego even more. Okay, now we're getting to the best part of this whole saga. Denmark and Greenland have been absolutely roasting Trump, and they're doing it in the most creative, savage ways imaginable. First, we've got the viral "Make America Go Away" hats. You heard that right. Protesters in Denmark and Greenland have created red MAGA-style hats, but instead of "Make America Great Again," they say "Make America Go Away." These hats have become a massive symbol of resistance. Thousands of Greenlanders have been marching in the streets wearing them, chanting "Greenland is not for sale." The imagery is perfect. They're literally using Trump's own branding against him. The protests have been huge. We're talking about thousands of people in Nuuk, Greenland's capital, braving freezing temperatures to tell Trump exactly what they think of his colonial ambitions. And the creativity of the protesters is off the charts. But wait, there's more. And this is the part that's absolutely killing Trump right now. Danish comedians created a brutal satire video mocking Trump's obsession with Greenland and the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's gone mega viral. The video shows actors portraying Greenlanders and Danes sarcastically thanking Trump for bringing them closer together through his threats. One character says, "Yes, Mr. President, you are a true peacemaker because your threats have actually brought Denmark and Greenland closer together than ever before." The video features hilarious scenes mocking Trump's personality, including a savage reference to Melania. Greenland's relationship with Denmark has always been kind of toxic. It's like being with someone who lies, cheats, and has zero morals. Melania knows what we are talking about, right? The best moment? They show Melania sitting there with sunglasses and a hat, not even looking up, completely checked out. It's comedy gold. The video concludes by saying Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for uniting Denmark and Greenland against him. That's how you make peace. You want peace? A little piece of Venezuela, a little piece of Greenland, you goddamn piece of... Censored. This video has been viewed millions of times and has international leaders and comedians talking. It's the kind of trolling that's impossible to ignore. And if you thought the satire video was brutal, wait until you hear what happened in the European Parliament. Danish member of European Parliament Anders Vistisen delivered one of the most epic takedowns of Trump ever recorded. During a debate about Greenland, Vistisen looked directly into the camera and said, "Mr. President, fought off." The chamber erupted in applause. This video has gone absolutely viral with millions of views. Vistisen didn't stop there. He went on to explain that Trump's threats are not only insulting but dangerous to NATO and the entire Western alliance. He called Trump's behavior colonial, imperialistic, and completely unacceptable. And a year later, he repeated the message again at another parliamentary session. This guy is not backing down. The international community is watching this disaster unfold, and the reactions are fascinating. European leaders are torn between trying to maintain diplomatic relations with the US and defending their ally Denmark. Trump has threatened 10% tariffs on European countries that oppose the Greenland takeover. He's essentially trying to extort Europe into supporting his colonial ambitions. But here's what Trump doesn't understand. This kind of bullying is actually uniting Europe against him. Countries that usually disagree on everything are now standing together to oppose Trump's threats. France's President Macron pushed back at Davos, saying, "Europe must stand strong against aggression." Germany's leadership has called Trump's threats unacceptable. Even countries that traditionally have good relations with the US are speaking out. And speaking of pushback, California Governor Gavin Newsom has been trolling Trump at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and it's glorious. Newsom attended Trump's speech in Davos, and when Trump called him out from the stage, Newsom just sat there smiling, completely unbothered. Afterward, Newsom told reporters that Trump's speech was incredibly boring and insignificant. He called Trump a T-Rex who devours anyone who doesn't mate with him. He accused European leaders of being pathetic for not standing up to Trump more forcefully. Newsom even brought Trump's signature series knee pads as a prop to mock CEOs and world leaders who bow down to Trump. The savagery level is off the charts. So how is Trump handling all this mockery? Not well, folks. Not well at all. He's been posting on Truth Social at all hours of the night, attacking Denmark, Norway, the Nobel Committee, and anyone else who criticizes him. He's threatened to remember countries that oppose him on Greenland. At Davos, Trump gave a rambling speech where he claimed the U.S. gave back Greenland to Denmark after World War II, which is completely false. Greenland was never American territory to give back. He also claimed Denmark only owns Greenland because they had a boat land there 500 years ago, as if that's how territorial sovereignty works. By that logic, Christopher Columbus would have claimed all of North America for Spain, and the entire concept of nation states would be meaningless. Let's talk about what Greenlanders themselves think about all this, because their voices are the most important in this debate. Greenland has a population of about 57,000 people, mostly indigenous Inuit. They have their own government and are working toward full independence from Denmark. The last thing they want is to be absorbed by the United States. Multiple polls show that over 90% of Greenlanders oppose becoming part of the U.S. They see Trump's threats as neocolonialism and a complete disrespect for their right to self-determination. Greenland's premier has been crystal clear. Greenland is not for sale, was not for sale, and will never be for sale. He's called Trump's behavior disrespectful and insulting. Trump keeps claiming this is all about national security, but let's examine that excuse because it falls apart under any scrutiny. The U.S. already has military access to Greenland through agreements with Denmark. There's Thule Air Base, a crucial part of U.S. missile defense systems, and the U.S. can operate there freely. Multiple military experts have said there's no security advantage to the U.S. actually owning Greenland versus the current arrangement. If anything, a hostile takeover would damage U.S. security by destroying the NATO alliance and pushing European countries away from cooperation. The security excuse is just cover for Trump's ego-driven tantrum over the Nobel Prize. It's that simple. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is entertaining, but why does it actually matter? Great question. Let me break down why this Greenland drama is actually super important and dangerous. First, it's damaging America's alliances. Denmark is a NATO ally. They fought alongside American troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. Danish soldiers died supporting U.S. missions. Trump threatening them with military action and tariffs over Greenland is destroying trust that took decades to build. Second, it's showing the world that Trump makes foreign policy decisions based on personal grievances, not actual national interests. If he's willing to threaten allies because he didn't get an award, what other irrational decisions will he make? Third, this sets a terrifying precedent for international relations. If a powerful country can just threaten to take over smaller territories whenever they want, the entire post-World War II international order collapses. Fourth, it's distracting from real issues Americans care about: healthcare, economy, jobs, education. Instead of solving actual problems, Trump is fixated on acquiring Greenland because of a Nobel Prize snub. The fact that Denmark's satirical response has gone so viral tells us something important. People around the world are fed up with this kind of behavior from leaders. The Make America Go Away hats aren't just funny. They represent a genuine movement of people saying no to bullying, colonialism, and ego-driven international relations. Even Greenlanders who usually stay out of politics are creating TikTok videos mocking Trump's threats. Some are doing impressions of the fentanyl fold and labeling it American culture in response to Trump's insults. Political analysts are calling this one of the most bizarre foreign policy episodes in modern American history. And that's saying something, considering we've had plenty of bizarre episodes. Former U.S. ambassador to Denmark has said Trump's threats are causing extreme anxiety and could permanently damage the U.S.-Denmark relationship. Constitutional scholars are pointing out that Trump can't just acquire foreign territory through executive action anyway. Any territorial acquisition would require congressional approval, and good luck getting Congress to support a colonial takeover of Greenland. International law experts are saying Trump's threats could violate multiple international treaties, including the UN Charter's provisions against threats of force. So where does this go from here? Trump has said he wants immediate negotiations with Denmark on Greenland, but Denmark has made clear there's nothing to negotiate. Greenland is not on the table. Trump has threatened tariffs starting February 1st if Europe doesn't cooperate, but economists warn this could trigger a trade war that would hurt American consumers and businesses more than anyone else. Meanwhile, Denmark is strengthening its military presence in Greenland, sending additional troops and equipment. They're making it very clear that Greenland is Danish sovereign territory and they will defend it. NATO is watching this situation very carefully. If Trump actually followed through on military threats against Denmark, it would trigger Article 5 of the NATO treaty, meaning the US would technically be at war with all of NATO. Can you imagine the absurdity of that? Look, folks, this entire saga shows us something really important. Trump's presidency is being driven by personal grievances and ego, not actual policy or national interest. The fact that he's threatening a 75-year alliance over Greenland because he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize is insane. And the fact that Denmark and Greenland are responding with humor and mockery, that's brilliant. Sometimes the best way to deal with a bully is to laugh at them. And that's exactly what the world is doing to Trump right now. That Danish satire video, those Make America Go Away hats, that Danish MP telling Trump to F off in Parliament. These are all examples of people refusing to be intimidated and instead choosing to mock the absurdity. What do you think about all this? Should Trump drop his Greenland obsession? Are Denmark and Greenland right to mock him? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of the most ridiculous international drama of 2026, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when Trump does something crazy next, which, let's be honest, will probably be tomorrow. Share this video with everyone who needs to see how Trump is being trolled by the entire country of Denmark. This story is too good not to share. Thanks for watching, and remember, when powerful people act ridiculously, sometimes the best response is to laugh at them. Stay informed, stay critical, and I'll see you in the next video.